Yep. So I guess, yeah, we've been looking at, I guess, looking at the efficiency of 1080 baits, which very, most people are familiar with creating or deploying manufactured 1080 baits for wild dogs and feral foxes. That's a picture of a great sized wild dog bait at one of our twice yearly injection services. And the reason for this is that essentially we do a huge amount of aerial baiting in the south and the SA Arid Lands region, mainly on the inside of the fence. And over the past 5 years, under the Bounce Back and Beyond project, which has looked at basically removing the threat of feral foxes, specifically for the western quoll or idnio, which is pictured here, throughout the Flinders Ranges, but has also looked at reducing fox predation for yellow-footed rock wallaby hotspots in accessible country of the northeast pastoral region, over near the New South Wales, South Australian border, and also through the Gawler Ranges. And for 5 years, twice a year, that's baited over 460,000 hectares of land with fox strength baits. And since 2012, there's been a huge effort, well over 500,000 dog strength baits that have been deployed south or inside of the fence through both SOW and PIRSA coordinated programs. So these baiting regimes are targeting particularly inaccessible areas that you wouldn't be able to sustainably or feasibly drive or hike into, and identified areas of both feral fox and wild dog corridors. And this baiting is also running with complementary ground-based baiting that a lot of you online today do a good job of doing, and that's looking at a landscape scale preventative control program. But even though, despite all this, very, very high effort of coordinated baiting, we have been essentially finding continued and in some cases recently increased intrusions of feral foxes and wild dogs. My screen wants to click through. Oh, bit of a lag there. So for it to catch up. So this is sort of, just giving us a bit of a question of looking into the baits. And my screen wants to go over. So we're trying to basically just get a better understanding of if these baits are actually remaining at a lethal dose during and in between the baiting programs. So that's basically resulted in us in carrying out what we've called a bait efficacy trial. So trialing of 3 different bait types, that being kangaroo and tuna, which are used both in the wild dog and wild fox baiting programs, and also in also using a manufactured dog bait, which close to 50% of our region purchase quite regularly. We put these baits out in these cages so that they couldn't be removed by bird or animal. And we also put a third of these cages under shelter to see if the prevention or lack of rainfall made a difference. So we're really looking to try to understand if degradation just from being out in the hot summer temperatures. This trial was done from December to March of last year in the Gawler Ranges, so pretty high summer temperatures, and also experienced about close to 60 millimetres of rainfall over the time period that they were out. We also wanted to investigate if ants played a major role in bait deterioration. So by doing so, we've actually, a third of these baits had a Coupex ant deterrent applied before they were laid out. And this is a practice that we have actually tried to a fair bit of success in previous Eradicat feral cat baiting trials, where there was no difference in bait uptake compared to Coupex being applied compared to non-Coupex being applied. So we don't believe it makes a difference, especially for cats, in bait uptake. And these baits essentially have been sent away to the lab for testing at 0 months, so with no exposure to the environment, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and 4 months. So that picture that you can see on the screen, that's of obviously a very dried up bit of kangaroo meat that's been sitting in that cage for 4 months with full exposure to the elements. And I was hoping, to present the actual findings of this trial, but unfortunately, a delay in the lab getting some of its testing solutions meant we're still waiting on the full set of results. So we'll certainly pass those on through our various channels and face-to-face interactions once we've got them. But we really wanted to basically just understand if those baits are actually still, at what point do they become potentially a non-lethal dose with environmental degradation, and part of that would also seeing if the application of an AMP deterrent does make a difference to that lethality, and whether that's something worth potentially introducing into aerial baiting regimes. And also to just basically see and test the potential importance that we do promote in best baiting ground practices, that if you do see, a dog or a fox, that, the expectation is that, baits should actually be applied again, even if mandatory baiting or minimum baiting practices have been met, because hopefully we'll be able to see if that deterioration of baits potentially makes a difference to what's out there in the environment. So yeah, short and sweet presentation, just basically on some of the stuff we've been doing behind the scenes at SOW on trying to improve landscape scale and some of our real large sort of baiting regimes.